I've learned a lot from this, learned I'm not built for jail.
This one involves a well-educated man with no criminal history, but a poor decision made in a split second leads to some serious consequences, and the judge now has to handle all of that. So watch how it plays out. My name is Dan. This is the Courtroom Files.
Okay. All right. While you're getting set up, Ms. Smith, I'm going to get us teed up. This will be our last thing before we break for lunch. This is 25 SC 007473, State versus Miles Harper. Mr. Harper, thank you for your patience this morning. He is represented by Ms. Sherry Lassiter, who is also here. Thank you for your patience. Ms. Smith is representing the state, and in a moment, when Ms. Smith is all fired up, she's going to swear you in, ask you some questions you've heard other people be asked today. I may have a few questions. I'll hear from your lawyer and from you, Mr. Harper. If there's anything you want to add, we'll get you sentenced and out the door. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Ms. Smith?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Mr. Harper, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in the matter currently before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you can lower your hand. Please state your true, correct, and legal name for the court.
Miles David Harper?
Are you at this time taking or under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine?
No.
Is there any medication that you would normally take that you haven't been given today?
No.
Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes.
How old are you and how far have you gone in school?
I am 33 and I have a bachelor's degree from Morehouse College in math.
In math, you said?
Yes.
Ooh, all right. What do you do with that?
Data analytics and a manager of a data analytics team as well. So kind of do two jobs at once.
All right.
Ms. Smith, pull your microphone down, please. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to these charges? And if you plead not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial.
Yes.
Have you had enough time to speak with your attorney about all of the facts and circumstances known to you regarding the charges in this indictment?
Yes.
Do you need more time to discuss your case with your attorney?
No.
And are you satisfied with her services?
Yes.
Counsel, are you satisfied that your client has a full understanding of this proceeding?
Yes.
Also, do you waive the formal reading of the indictment and any and all defense in the indictment for the purposes of this plea?
So waived.
Mr. Harper, do you remember being arrested on these charges?
I do.
The state is unaware of any outstanding warrants related to these charges. Are you or your attorney aware of any outstanding warrants?
No.
Do you understand that this is a negotiated plea of guilty, which means that the state will recommend to the court a sentence of 6 years probation?
Mhm.
Yes.
You got to say yes or no.
Yes, sorry.
Are you aware that the court does not have to accept that recommendation and that the court can sentence you to the maximum on each charge and can run those sentences consecutively?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you're placed on probation of any kind, you cannot violate any criminal laws of any governmental unit or any special conditions of probation without being subject to revocation for the balance of the sentence?
Yes.
Do you understand that this is a guilty plea, which is permanently recorded on your criminal history?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you're charged with a crime in the future, that this plea may be used to enhance that sentencing, including on a federal case?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you're currently on probation or parole, your probation or parole may be revoked based on you entering this guilty plea today?
Yes.
Are you a United States citizen?
Yes.
Do you understand that there may be other adverse or unfavorable consequences as a result of this guilty plea conviction, just as there would be from a conviction following a trial? For example, your guilty plea may affect your right to vote, the right to hold public office, the right to serve on a jury, the right to obtain a passport, or the ability to obtain employment.
Yes.
Do you also understand that by pleading guilty to a felony, you cannot use, receive, possess, transport, or own a firearm, and that if you did, you could be charged with another felony offense?
Yes.
It's my understanding that you want to take this plea under first offender, is that correct?
Yes.
Are you asking to be treated as a first offender under the provisions of the First Offender Act?
Yes.
Have you ever pleaded guilty or nolo contendere to, or ever been convicted of a felony in the state of Georgia or any other jurisdiction?
No.
Have you ever been sentenced for any crime, felony, or misdemeanor under the First Offender Act?
No.
Has your lawyer explained the First Offender Act to you?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you violate the terms of your first offender sentence or commit a new offense while on first offender probation, your first offender status could be revoked, you could be adjudicated guilty, and you could be resentenced up to the maximum sentence for each charge in this indictment?
Yes.
Do you understand that the federal government considers a first offender plea a conviction for purposes of deportation and can still affect your ability to remain,
Yes.
if that was an issue?
Yes.
Do you understand that you waive any and all defenses, including any mental health defenses, by entering a plea of guilty?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up the following rights: the right to a trial by jury, the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself, the right to see and hear the witnesses called to testify against you, the right to the assistance of counsel, either hired by you or court appointed if you cannot afford an attorney, the right to the presumption of innocence, which means that the state must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you're guilty of these charges, the right to testify on your own behalf or remain silent, the right to present other evidence of your own and call your own witnesses, and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges after a trial.
Yes.
Counsel, are you satisfied that your client understands that these are the rights that they'll be waiving by entering this guilty plea?
Yes.
Mr. Harper, has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter into this guilty plea?
No.
As to indictment number 25 SC 007473, how do you plead to count 1, criminal damage to property in the first degree, and count 2, criminal damage to property in the first degree?
Guilty.
Is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with full knowledge of the charges against you?
Yes.
Do you understand that you do not have a right to appeal directly from your guilty plea, but if you believe that there's some type of error in your guilty plea, you can apply to the appropriate appellate court to request a discretionary appeal?
Yes.
Do you understand that that process must be completed within 30 days from today?
Yes.
Do you understand that you have only 4 years from today for a felony charge to file a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness of this plea?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Harper. Your Honor, this case were to proceed to trial. The state would show that on September 7th, 2024, officers of the Atlanta Police Department responded to 390 17th Street, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia, also in Fulton County. They responded to a shots fired call. When they got to this location, it was an apartment complex, but they went to a parking garage in the Atlantic Station community, and the officers were told that there were just people on the parking deck that were shooting. When the officers investigated, they were able to see several shell casings by 2 of the cars that had been hit by bullets that had damage because of those bullets also. One of the officers with the Atlanta Police Department went to the leasing office a few days later and watched a video that depicted the defendant and another unnamed person shooting at a third person that was riding on a bike. Now, is the state's belief or version of events is that the defendant and his friend went to this apartment complex and they both ride motorcycles. They got off of those motorcycles, and the defendant's friend or the person he came with, a third person came to steal his bike. So his bike was being stolen. As that person was driving away with the stolen bike, the defendant and a second unknown person started to shoot at the person who was stealing the bike. When they started to shoot at the person that was stealing the bike, 2 cars were hit in the midst of it. APD, through their investigation, were not able to identify who that person was that was shot at or potentially shot, hence why there's no charges for aggravated assault here. However, with the 2 charges we do have here, those are the facts. Those 2 cars were shot. And I was able to speak with the victims of both of the cars here, and they've sent me estimates and receipts of them getting their cars fixed. One car's windshield was broken. Another car had a shot going through their hood where their radiator was broken, so they had to get that completed. I've been able to get those documents. I'll share them with counsel, and we are asking for restitution in this case. But those are the facts of the case. Regarding the charges that we have before us, the negotiated plea is for count 1 sentencing to be 3 years probation, and then for count 2 to also be 3 years probation for those to run consecutive. Regarding the special conditions of probation, the state is recommending for the defendant to complete 50 hours of community service and anger management course, for him to stay away from the incident location, and for him to pay restitution to the victims in this case. Again, like I stated earlier, there was video footage of this. I've seen it. The defense counsel has watched it also. But because of that, this is the negotiated plea that we're presenting to the court. And that's all from the state, Your Honor.
So the cars were sort of innocent bystanders.
Yes.
And fortunately, it was cars and not people. But Mr. Harper and someone else decided it was worth risking life, limb, et cetera, to shoot at someone who was stealing a motorcycle.
That's correct.
Okay. And we don't know if the guy on the motorcycle got hit. He didn't stop. He sped away on the motorcycle.
Well, he fell off.
Oh, he fell
He
off.
fell off the motorcycle and then ran away. I'm not sure if that person was shot or not.
Okay.
but I have-
Regardless, he left. He didn't stick around to say, wait, why are you shooting at me? Or I'm so sorry, or whatever.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Interesting. Any reason why Mr. Harper is charged all by himself and not the other guy who was shooting?
Well, the police officers were able to identify Mr. Harper through his license plates that was on his bike.
Okay.
And he fit the description of the person in the video when they were able to identify him.
Got
I
it.
just think unfortunately the second person was not identified and we didn't have any information on him.
Okay. Got it. Ms. Stallworth, criminal history information on Mr. Harper.
There's no prior history.
You've been boring the last two of these. Okay, appreciate it. We will see you at 1:30, please.
Okay, see you then.
Thank you. Have a good lunch break. Ms. Sherry Lassiter.
Okay, yes, Your Honor. Before I get into explaining who my client is as a person, I want to speak on the facts just a little.
Sure.
The situation was, no good deed goes unpunished. He gets a phone call and said, hey, somebody's stealing my bike. I don't know what's going on. I need help. So he comes to the location, which is the parking garage. As he's walking up, he sees a person on the bike. He's walking up the ramp to the parking garage. He hears gunshots and sees gunfire. He doesn't know what's going on, so he ducks behind a vehicle. You can see him on the video, ducking behind another vehicle. He's shooting because he's thinking he's being shot at. So there's this other unidentified person coming from another direction shooting as well. I think we were still waiting on ballistics to find out exactly what shell casings and what gun it belonged to, but my client at this point is willing to take responsibility, not knowing if it was from the other person's gun or his weapon. And then the person, I believe, it seems like he dropped the bike and jumped off. It didn't seem like he was hit on the video. It seems like he just like, oh, it's too much going on. I'm getting out of here.
Right, not worth
Forget
it.
this bike. Yeah, forget
Yeah.
stealing this bike, stealing this motor vehicle. And he runs off. And my client Mr. Harper doesn't have any criminal history. He's 33 years old, a mathematics graduate of Morehouse College in 2015. This is not his life. And I appreciate the state being willing to look at those factors as well. He is employed. He has two jobs, Comcast and a tech company called PDI, where he does data analytics. He's involved in his community. He helps the elderly in his neighborhood with, yard work or things like that people need assistance with. And again, like I said, he has a bachelor's degree in mathematics. We do ask the court accept this plea under first offender. The restitution, I'm still kind of murky on, so I'm not sure the exact amount.
Well, the way we're going to handle that, just so there aren't any questions, the victims to the counts to which Mr. Harper is entering pleas are entitled to restitution if it can be proven up. And so Ms. Smith has previewed the fact that it looks like she's getting some paperwork. She obviously has to get that to you. If you can test it, we have a hearing, and if they prove it up, then those are the dollar amounts. It may be that you and Mr. Harper look at it and say, hey, how about, I'm making numbers up, how about we just agree $1,000 for this guy, $500 for that guy? There also needs to be evidence that they didn't get insurance coverage for it because they can't double recover.
Right.
And it may be they decided not to use their insurance because they didn't want to hurt their policy or who knows what. But those are all fair questions for you to ask of Ms. Smith as she gets you that info. If there's a meeting of the minds, then Ms. Smith will just send an email to Ms. Nelson, copying you, saying, could we please amend the final disposition to add X dollars of restitution for this guy and Y dollars for that guy? If there's not a meeting of the minds, then we have a hearing. It's a little evidentiary hearing that is either based on the documents, or it may be that the two gentlemen whose cars got shot up, that they come in and they say, here's, yep, I got it fixed. I didn't use insurance. And we can make a big mountain out of it. It can be a small mountain. It also depends on the dollar amount. If it's $100,000, I would expect a whole lot more pushback than, hey, you know what? It cost me $50 to replace the hubcap on the car. You know what, I'll give you $50. I want to move this behind me. So real reason, but you need to see the paperwork first. It's not simply that the state says, the victim says it was $400. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
you bet.
And then I believe we agreed to a behavior incentive date of 3 years.
I didn't hear that. Did,
A part of the plea is if he was taking the plea under first offender, the state would ask for a 3-year bid date.
Okay.
It's entitled to.
And in addition to that, I'm just going to push it just a little bit more and see if we can have it based on his cooperation and having no further issues, if he can go to non-reporting after 1 year.
okay, we'll see.
Okay. And to have this filed under seal.
All right. Anything else?
The community service that we talked about was 30 hours. I believe the state mentioned 50. I just want to make sure we're clear on the number of community service hours.
I have 50 on my paper, but let me go back to our
I
conversation.
have 30 in the email. I just want to double check.
I'm gonna go with 50, so.
Oh, you want to go?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, Your Honor. I just had to put that out there. And that's all I have. We just ask that you accept this negotiated plea.
Okay. Mr. Harper, anything you want to add?
I've learned a lot from this. Learned I'm not built for jail. Sitting in the cell
You were only there 3 days. That was 3 too many?
for too many.
Okay,
So,
I hear you.
ever since then, been trying to stay on the straight and narrow.
Well, you were on the straight and narrow. I mean, to your client's point, it's not like, because I get cases where this is the 9th time someone has shot up a car. And like, this isn't just about, I'm trying to help a friend and there was a crime going on. Don't play Rambo cop anymore, though. If something's going on, say, hey, that's too bad, man. I hope you get your bike back. I'm staying in my apartment.
Yeah, the plan is, I've already gotten rid of my firearm, just sold it, got rid of it, didn't need it anymore.
Great.
Just want to avoid
Good.
anything.
You are moving in a great way. 2 jobs. You're in a management role already. You've got a great degree from a phenomenal institution. Keep going in that direction. If you want to do a family, all those things are great. And they only get held back when you're like, hey, I'm going to go help my friend. So I'll just put my piece here and we'll do this. And that can end so, and you're firing these rounds and there's a kid walking through the parking deck and you didn't know it and you didn't mean to hit him, but that death is on you. And we're not talking about probation or this or that. It would be, well, would that be voluntary manslaughter, murder, and that's never in your heart. That wasn't in your heart at all, but that's what can flow from something like that. But you learned it. I'm preaching to the choir here. Any other questions?
The only thing is I do planned on doing a little bit of traveling in the country, not out of the country, but I didn't know how that would impact that. I know the probation, you have to speak to the probation officer, but I wasn't sure if it was just no travel for X amount of time and then it ramps up or anything.
No, it's seek permission first.
Okay.
And so you probably wouldn't want to do it week 1 because they wouldn't have gotten a good read of you. You seem like you're going to be a very low maintenance supervisee, but there's no guarantee. And so you would want to have a few months of good rapport with your officer under your belt before you say, hey, I'm going to Colorado with some friends. Show me the itinerary. Great. When are you going to be back? And they either get permission from me or they may be authorized to give you that permission for leisure travel. Where it's a problem is if you say, oh, my new job and I got to be in Chicago all the time. They can't supervise you if you're in Chicago all the time. But a one-off trip here and a one-off trip there generally is not an issue. Just the key thing to remember is you get approval before you go.
Understand.
And if you're not getting approval, you let Ms. Sherry Lassiter know. She reaches out to me and I can engage with probation saying, tell me the concern. And then I can let you know, hey, that's a valid concern. You keep testing positive for this when you take it. I'm making it up, but whatever the deal is. And if it doesn't seem reasonable to me, I'll say, fine, I'll authorize it. Let the guy go to Chicago. He wants to see a Cubs game or whatever it is you travel for, a math conference. So anything else?
No. That's
Okay.
pretty much it.
Well, Mr. Harper, I find there's a factual basis for your plea. It sounds like you've processed this, and I appreciate it was a long time ago. You've had a while to process it. I'm glad no one got hurt. At least we don't think the guy on the bike got hurt, but that was on him. I also find that your plea is knowing and voluntary, meaning you've understood what we've talked about. No one's forcing you to enter this plea. You agree with that?
I agree.
All right. Ms. Sherry Lassiter, can someone in my office sign the indictment for you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Smith?
Yes, Judge.
And Mr. Harper, can we electronically sign your name to the indictment indicating your first offender plea to both counts?
Yes, Your Honor.
We'll do that. I will sentence you as a first offender. I think you understand. I know you appreciate the benefits. It's not a conviction. When you leave here today, You're not a convicted felon. As long as you finish out probation with no major hiccups, you remain not a felon. I'm happy to seal things. You should submit a proposed order. Copy Ms. Smith on the email that you send to Ms. Nelson, and that proposed order should be in Word format. The downside to first offender, I need to say it on the record, just so you know, but I know your lawyers told you, is that you're on probation for a while. And even if I give you the behavioral incentive date, it's a few years. If you have a hiccup in a big way and you get arrested 6 months from now because you fired your gun in a way you shouldn't, it's all going to come tumbling down. I can take away your first offender status and resentence you up to the maximum on both counts. I don't see that happening, but I need to make sure you understand that that's a possible consequence if you have trouble staying in the right lane while you're on probation.
I understand.
Okay, do you want to be sentenced as a first offender?
Yes, please.
I will do that. I will follow the negotiated resolution to this extent: 3 years probation on count 1, 3 years probation on count 2. I'll stack them, meaning a total of 6 years probation. That's a little longer sentence than we normally see for someone with no history, but it fits the, I shot my gun. And did they kick you out of the jury room?
Yes.
I tried to see if we could move, we have a meeting.
Yeah, that was fine.
I'm sorry, you can be in here. I tried to get it moved to a different jury room, but I had to do that. Anyway, because of the nature of what was involved, and it could have been so much worse, I think 6 is a reasonable window, but I will set a behavioral incentive date of April 22 of 2029. That's 3 years from today. If you have done everything you needed to do, and there are actually not many steps you have to take, then probation can, that's actually closing the case out. Well, before then, I suspect you will be unsupervised. I don't need to recommend that. You earn it by being low maintenance. And because it's a property crime rather than you stab someone, the probation is likely to turn it into unsupervised pretty early on, provided you're doing all the things you need to. Special condition of probation number 1. So there was a request for a stay away, but I couldn't tell if you lived there. I'm not going to make you stay away from your own parking deck.
No, I wouldn't have any reason to go over there.
Great, then don't.
That's easy.
Stay away from that parking deck. And you'll need to complete 50 hours of community service. You'll need to knock that out in the first 6 months of probation. So you just be done with it. Take care of that. Obviously no firearms while you're on probation.
Understand.
You're not a convicted felon, but first offender probationers, that's what you are, may not have firearms. It's actually a felony offense to have a firearm as a first offender probationer. You told me you already got rid of it. You sold it. Once you're done with your sentence, you're not under that sentence anymore. Should you choose to, it is legal. It is allowable for you to get back into the I own a firearm business if that's what you want to do.
Understand.
No restitution at this point, but just you're on notice. We may come back and have a conversation about restitution. The state's gathering that paperwork. It may be that we don't have to have the conversation because your lawyer looks at the paperwork and says, Mr. Harper, this is all legit. It's a windshield, it's a radiator, and these don't look like crazy prices. And then you'll agree, that's my restitution. But you don't have to agree to it. The state has to prove it up. And so if we need to have a hearing, I'll happily do that.
Understood.
What county do you live in?
Cobb County.
Cobb County. All right, when we're done with this conversation, Ms. Simpson, who is with felony probation, is going to give you reporting instructions. Where is it in Cobb? What city?
It's in Marietta.
Marietta. So the Department of Community Supervision's office is in Marietta. You'll need to report there. Ms. Simpson's going to let you know where that is and when you need to be there. But that's a hot date. It's not a, hey, it'd be good if you showed up around that time. If you don't make it, they try a couple times to track you down. And if that doesn't work, they send me a warrant. That is a really bad start to first offender.
Yeah.
So don't miss your hot date. Okay?
I won't.
Good. Ms. Sherry Lassiter, anything else on behalf of Mr. Harper?
That covers it. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I appreciate you hearing us out.
No problem. Ms. Smith, anything else on behalf of the state?
Nothing further.
All right, Mr. Harper, good luck with everything. Please meet with Ms. Simpson before you go, and then you are all done.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. We'll go off the record. Ms. Rivers, we'll see you at 1, or we'll have you back at 1:30, please.
You know, there's a difference between stepping in and taking things too far. And I think Judge McBurney made it fairly clear where he stands on how this defendant handled things, but I'm curious what you think. So take a moment before you go and let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please do check out one of the two that are on your screen right now. Thanks for watching.